Turn on sharing for me too.
Oh, yes, I will do it. Let me make you the host or co-host. Okay, now you can share as well.
Okay. And have you started recording? Yes, very good. Well, we welcome everyone to tonight's education and prayerful session. And let's begin with an opening prayer. Please close your eyes if you are able. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful opportunity to continue our gathering of knowledge, processing of the information, and understanding of the lessons. We invite all the spirits, especially our mentors, protectors, supporters, to continue to guide us through tonight's session, both in the delivery and discussion and in the understanding and interpretation. And we humbly request permission to begin tonight's session. And so be it. Okay. So hopefully you are seeing this. How's the type size?
Maybe you can maximize, or you already did.
Let's see what I can do here.
I think you can read.
I'm gonna open that on my computer anyway because I'm on my cell phone.
Yeah, do the same over here.
Yeah, well, there's a little larger.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so tonight's discussion is primarily, I think, or exclusively, one question, number 171, in the chapter called Justice of Reincarnation. And so question 171 is...
Hold on. Let me just pull it up real quick on mine, please. Okay, hold on. What question is it? 171?
Yes.
We are in the Spirits book, right?
Yes.
Yes. 171.
Okay, I'm getting there. Go ahead.
So the question is, what is the basis of reincarnation? Reincarnation is based on God's justice and revelation. An affectionate father, as we have already explained, always grants his children the opportunity to redeem themselves, no matter how rebellious they may be. Reason alone dictates that it would be unfair to inflict eternal misery on those who have not had the opportunity to improve themselves. Aren't we all God's children? Injustice, merciless hatred, and unrelenting punishment are only found in the worlds of selfish people. So I'm going to stop because I thought the first sentence was amazingly powerful. So what struck me as I read that first sentence is, in reality, humans have no clue what is the criteria for justice in God's mind. We have a sense from what Kardec has and other spirits have given us through literature and psychography and such. But what we really do is we respect the fact that that's up to God. There's no intermediary. And revelation, as I thought about it, is probably the awareness of what a human has done, is doing in their lives. And if it's in the sense of after death, then it's what was accomplished during the lifetime. If it's in the sense of a concurrent examination, I'm not sure how we would find out, but again, we have some standards by which to measure ourselves against. Any other thoughts?
Well, something when the first time that I studied this book, something that caught my attention is, at least in Brazil, when you talk about spiritism, everybody talk about spirits and reincarnation, which is not the main point of the spiritism. And the way that Kardec started the book, it's about God. It was his first question to the spirits. And what is God? Not who is God, but what is God? And then along of this study, we can understand why reincarnation is not the main point in the spiritism, because there is so much more to understand before get to the point of reincarnation. And when you get to the point of the reincarnation, we understand the real justice of God, what it means. And this last phrase, injustice, mercy, hatred, and unrelating punishments are only found in the worlds of selfish people, which means that's not words from God. That's not something from God. And when we understand, when we learn the first part of this book of the attribute of God, or at least the ones that we can know so far, we understand that hell, punishment, you're going to be punished by God, and this and that is the creation of human beings. And then you can step in reincarnation, understand the purpose of reincarnation, which we're going to study further on. Why? And that's the beauty of understand our responsibilities on our lives, because it's all about us. Actually, it's about to us to do things. And that's why caught my attention when I started learning about this book and this phrase, selfish people. So if we imagine a God, we believe in God, we can we can conclude that God is not selfish. Who is selfish? We are selfish. We are the one that created those ideas of punishment.
We create the problems that we try to solve, right?
Whoa, now we're back to cause and effect. I love it.
In fact, yes. Like a circle.
Yeah.
You try to solve, then you create more problem, and you try to solve. And then when reincarnation jumping in.
So this next paragraph I also enjoy. All spirits strive for perfection, and God provides them this opportunity through the trials of corporeal life. Divine justice compels them to use their new existence to do what they were not able to do or complete in a prior trial. So the second sentence is definitely introducing the reincarnation principle, but the first sentence, I think, is the power sentence. Right off the bat, all spirits strive for perfection. So we humans have an innate element of ourselves to be able to drive for accomplishment, to drive for excellence, to drive towards perfection. Now, when I first read this and I said all spirits, I went, okay, those are the elevated spirits beyond where I am. And I went, no, that includes me. So I have and have had a desire for perfection. It is interesting how it does and does not manifest itself.
You know, when I look at this paragraph too, when it says that God provides them the opportunity um, to redo things and to redeem themselves, right? Talking about me as well, and use their new existence to do what they're not able to complete in a prior trial. Um, there is some things that are so obvious, right? You see, for example, when um, a parent doesn't talk to their children any for the next reason, like as adults, when you see like when a parent has a disabled child, there's some things that are so obvious for me that I look from the outside. If I have somebody, if I know somebody that, like I said, an example, somebody that doesn't talk, doesn't have a relationship with their parent for X reason. For me, it's so obvious that you need to get that relationship back, because otherwise you're going to come back and have to do the same thing. Or when you have a parent that has that disabled child, vice versa, or when you see somebody at the end of their life depending, like an elderly depending on their children, and you see that from the outside, and you look and you say, this is so obvious that you have to take care of your parent. But I'm wondering, like, in my life, if when people, like, it's easy for us to see in other people's life, but are we really looking into our lives, like what is around me that I can fix now, that I don't have to wait for the next life? Because we're very good on judging others and seeing people's problem, but are we looking into us the same way we're looking at other people and say, you need to fix this, otherwise you're going to come back for that? We really need to think about that. Let's fix what is around us first instead of looking at everything else, because it's easy, like I said, to see everybody else's problem but our problems, right? Do you guys agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And further on, the more we study this book further on in the next questions and subjects, you're going to understand more about this process and why this process happens. Um, because it's up to us to change or not. Of course, we are talking about the point of the iceberg here. We need to reincarnate because you need to pay your debts. But the more deep we go, you're going to understand some some of the attributes of this and why we have to do this and why we go through this. And plus, we don't even ask to reincarnate, we beg. We're begging because the information that the spirits, not just this book, because it's a complement of other books, that's saying that um, we we need this opportunity to grow, but not as everybody's ready for this opportunity to take advantage of the opportunity to be here. I'm going to give the study tonight, and we are the spirits book, but we are in the third part already, question 700 something. And when you get in the moral laws, which wrap it up this book, then we are going to understand the real meaning of so many things like you said, Samantha, it's so obvious. Some things when you see in other people, but when we start seeing inside of us, that's the hard part. Because actually, I can tell right now, we don't come to fix things to people. We come to fix things to us most of the time. We don't come to get um the people's agree or disagree, or for people to forgive us as we think. Actually, we come to us, for us, especially for us, working towards others. That's the thing. We are especially here to work towards others, and this comes to the progress. But that's a subject that we're gonna talk later about this. But when you we going deep in this book and start understanding the little things that really mean about the reincarnation, all this process, I can tell it's like a life change. It's a life change. You're going to start to see things with another eyes. I'm not saying that it's going to be luck. Wow, we're going to wake up and now I'm amazing. No, but you're going to have the knowledge on how to do. It's kind of guidance this and on how to do
Mm-hmm.
things differently, or at least try.
At least try. That's it.
Important. That's again, that's in that first sentence of this second paragraph. We strive for perfection. We are constantly trying to achieve. So yes, attempt to. Okay, so it would not be consistent with God's justice or goodness to condemn to eternal suffering those who have encountered obstacles to their improvement, obstacles that may have resulted from circumstances beyond their control, and thus are independent of their will. If the fate of humankind were conclusively determined after death, God would not have weighed the actions of all objectively and according to the same criteria. So it's very much an individual assessment.
Yeah.
And plus, about condemn.
Oh, yeah, it's not, you know, what strikes me in in school, you take a test and one day the teacher passes the test back to you with the grade on it. And if you've done well, you might get a comment that says, good job, or something like that. And if you haven't done well, you get a comment, try harder next time, or what happened, or something like that. Sometimes some teachers would do that. And I think it's the same thing here. I don't think it's a judgment in the harsh sense of the word. It's a judgment because a judgment needs to be done. It's part of the process.
Yes, and it's not up to us to judge, because when you put God in a position of judge who is bad, who is good, let's separate them and condemn whoever is bad to the eternal suffering or hell, whatever they believe, we put God in the position of human. And in order to understand God, along of the centuries, we put God as human, because we try to put him close. When I say him, it's the way that we refer, but it's not him. But we try to put God close to us in a sense of to put it like human. And who condemn, who judge, who separate, who segregate, who do those things, it's us.
Of course.
Right? And then that's important to understand, like, will not be consistent with God's justice if he condemns. And we can just give a simple example, like, as a father, as a mother, They don't do this to their child. They give chance. Why God, above us, the supreme, would do such a thing? It's a matter of question the right questions and be logical on those things.
Okay, so now we get into the topic itself. Reincarnation, which asserts that people have many successive lives, is the only theory that satisfies the idea that we form of God's justice with regard to those who are placed in morally inferior conditions. It is the only one that can explain the future and give us hope because it offers us a way to make amends for our errors through new trials. This concept is indicated by reason and taught by the spirits. It is a natural, at first I thought it was me, and then I learned it's a very natural human curiosity to want to know and yet not want to know
Yeah.
where we are on the evolutionary scale, where we are in the process, what types of things might we expect when we discarnate. It's this wonderful. No, I don't want to know. Yeah, I'd like to know. No, I don't want to know.
I don't know if I'm ready to get my test back with my grades, right? It's like, do I really want to turn around and see my grades?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe not.
The other thought that comes to mind is it's not the old style of A, B, C, D, and F. It's it's something more outstanding, acceptable, needs improvement. Yeah, and of course, in our own self-assessment, we probably have quite a few needs improvements. I know I do.
Well, and of course we do. And then we go back to what I said before, oh, I can tell on so and so what she needs improvement. And what about me? Oh, I'm fine. I don't need improvement. So do we really, right? We have to really think about that because the time is gonna come and
Actually,
we need
we have only to think about that. Only to think about that. That's why reincarnation is not the main point of the Spirit's teaching, of Jesus Christ's teaching. It's not the main point. The main point is love God above everything and love your brothers and sisters as you love yourself.
And
That's the
no,
main point.
yeah, no
That's
room
why
for.
Jesus make this the main point. So um, that's the thing that we have to understand when it comes to understand reincarnation is to be better. Not that my neighbor be better. Good if he's doing or her doing that. But how about myself?
yeah.
And, and that's why the future doesn't matter. In the past, you have to learn from the past, but it's already, gone. What matters, what is you're doing right now. And that's gonna dictate the future. You know what's gonna happen to the future. You know already. You don't need like to try to discover what's gonna happen to the future. You don't need like spirits come to us and say, we know by our actions what's going to happen, what kind of things you're going to face in the future according to what you're doing right now. That's what you said, Samantha, is the key. We have to see our self reformation, inner reformation first, then help others.
Mhm.
And by helping others, we can work a lot on us. But when I say helping others, really helping others. see the suffering to others, and then understand what we have to be better. When, on where. That's why the reincarnation is not the main point. But it's
Right.
important to understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Continuing. People who are aware of their own inferiority obtain reassuring hope from the concept of reincarnation. If they believe in God's justice, they cannot reasonably hope to be immediately placed on the same level as those who have made a better use of life. However, the knowledge that they will not be barred from supreme happiness forever based on this inferiority, and the fact that they will be able to reach this happiness through new efforts, resuscitates their courage and replenishes their energy. Who does not, at the end of their career, lament that an experience was acquired too late to be of actual use? This is not a loss, for they profit from it in a new corporeal life.
So if it's too late, right? Is that what basically is saying? When
Well,
you get
it's never too late. I
no,
think
but when it says here, who does not at the end of their career lament that an experience would require too late?
to be of
I mean, it's
actual
never.
use.
I think the fact that you realize that it made the point that it's not too late. At least
I,
you
I agree.
realized.
I agree. I mean, even the fact that the light bulb went on is progress. That's part
Yeah.
of individual transformation.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you weren't able to benefit or benefit others by that knowledge is the lament.
Mm-hmm.
But I read something early in my spiritist journey that was really important, and I don't remember the source, but the concept was the mistakes you make before you understand why they are mistakes are not the kind of mistakes that you should feel guilt over. Or, as we just used the word lament, why would I lament over something I did not know? I did not understand. On the other hand, uh, in my case, there are plenty of examples of things I absolutely knew and continued to do wrong.
Have the knowledge.
Yeah. So those are the ones I tend to feel guilty about.
Well, at least you know, right?
Yeah. But again, the consciousness was raised.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. About that, I think that it always, drive my attention on this matter. It's reason, as it says, concept is indicated by reason, because must make sense. If you try question things about our life and everything else, and it I when it says here that it's never too late, I remember what Chico Xavier said about we can redo the past, but we can always make a new beginning, because every day is opportunity. Every day as incarnated or disincarnated, because we have eternal life. Every day is opportunity to change things around. It might take some time, but we need to do the first step, and the sooner the better, to understand. And it doesn't mean that we're not going through trials, because if we are here, because we still have a lot to learn, lot to learn. If we're spirits incarnated in this world, because we still have a lot to learn. And when you see, you know You don't need like to go like far away to see bad things happening around us. 2020 I think taught us a lot of things. At least I hope it did. But it's not just about to die. No, it's about to live. How we live the life, how we go through this path, how we do things, and about knowledge. Oh, I think it's everybody's, deep inside. If you never ever in our life, had the chance to read those kind of studies or to go to any religion or any philosophy, we know deep inside the time to change. Because as this speaker that I like in Brazil, Haroldo Dutra, says, don't tell me you guys here don't know about reincarnation. You don't remember, but because that's not the first time you were here. It's more than 100 times, much more than that you guys coming back and forth to try to learn something. And most of us put the opportunities in the trash. That's why we're here again. But it's not to, make somebody like to be sad, oh my God, let's give up. No, it's just to continue, because you have to remember this incarnation is the best one that we had so far. It's the best one that we have so far. And when the time comes that you have to come back to the spiritual world, at least have something on our hands. You're not gonna be, wow, I'm perfect. Let's, move on now. At least you can say, we tried. We know how hard it is. But that's why the reincarnation is not the point. And what Samantha said, it's so true. It's about us, what you are doing.
Very true. Very, very true.
It's like a circle. You just go back to the same thing. With right.
Well, it is. I want to share something with you. I wanted to share this tonight anyway. I saw a presentation yesterday morning, and it was a series of statistics resulting from a year worth of the pandemic in the United States. But these were not your most common statistics that mainstream media brings forward. So, for example, there's surveys now that will show that across the country, across all demographics, across all geographies, there's an uptick in spiritual involvements.
Mm.
People have found religion, people have found meditation, people have found a variety of things to benefit themselves and in some cases society, because some people are now leading groups of a spiritual nature. And it's interesting that this is in the face of the pandemic, so there's a virtual aspect of doing this. People are teaching yoga virtually and a variety of different meditation approaches and so on. And so there were these different charts and so on. But what really surprised me was this universality aspect of it across all age groups. 6 different age groups are all showing increases in spirituality. Here you would have thought the newest generations would not be, and the oldest generations would be. It's actually across the board. They're all increasing. And I find that absolutely in concert with what we hear every day, every week in Spiritism about the evolution of the earth and where we are right now. And so I say all that because if I look at what happened to me personally in the last year, in the first year of the pandemic, being retired, I had a jackpot fall in my lap. I now had nothing but time, and I have technology to get me to all the spiritist information I ever want. So I was spending in the earliest days of the pandemic, for 5 or 6 months, I was spending 6 to 8 hours online at Cardiac Radio, doing whatever research, not exclusively Kardec, not exclusively Spiritism, but just a variety of different things of a spiritual nature. Okay, for the first time in my life, at the age of 68 or 69, I started doing that. That's pretty amazing.
It is,
that's
yeah.
transformational. The I never would have thought that I would have the discipline to do something like that. And it
I
accelerated.
wonder
Well,
on
what it did is it
sorry.
accelerated my understanding, and it also accelerated my questions.
Yeah, because the research is there, right? Online.
Yeah.
Also I was gonna say, um, I wonder if this study was it like only on the US, all over the world?
Uh,
The study that you
this
saw?
study, it was U.S.
Okay.
Yeah, what it was,
Because
it was a
I was
group of
talking,
it was a group of Christian psychologists. There were two that were working on their doctorates, and they started this. This was part of their reports, and they started this survey. And when they got their first set of results, the university got 100% behind them, and they started tapping into psychologists all over the country to survey their patients. And so you had an absolutely anonymous, voluntary survey taking
mhm,
place. Real simple questions, but the conclusions were astounding.
Amazing.
that's good. Yeah, the accessibility of computers. You also have some, disabled rights people that have now they feel inclusive because they are like everyone else. But I wonder because I was talking to a spiritist friend in Brazil, and over there it's a little bit different because not everybody has, with the internet, computer, so they're seeing a lack of participation because the temples, the centers, the churches are not just spiritists, but overall are not open. So a lot of people are falling behind on that. But
Yeah.
because some people need the actual physical place to
Well,
concentrate. They don't have a quiet place at home or whatever the situation is, right?
that's I would think that's very much a cultural reality that
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
not all cultures in all countries are going to adapt to a virtual approach to everyday life.
of course. Yeah.
And that's making me wondering why some cultures have the opportunity versus other cultures that doesn't have the same opportunities.
Wow, what a great question. Oh my goodness.
That's yeah, that's something to reflect about.
Yeah.
And why
Maybe
I
so everybody can level up. Huh?
yeah, why I'm here having the opportunity, why some doesn't. If you compare, I mean, Brazil is still pretty good if you compare to Africa, some places in
Oh
Africa.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So other places as well, and places that has war right now.
Yeah.
So there's so many things going on if you're thinking about. But that's an interesting subject because I was talking to a couple friends this weekend, and we were talking about the world, technology, how things going right now, how the new kids in the future will be, about the technology, and they are talking about bad things coming, people don't interact anymore, that's all about technology, machines, and that's making me wondering, okay, but if I talk to my grandmother right now and I ask her 70 years ago, if I came to you, grandma, and said that in the future, even less than 100 years, you're going to be able to talk through a phone or like we do right now, what are you going to say to me? So probably, yeah, I would say that you're going to Are you crazy? Or you're dreaming? Because I think we have to understand that things change if we not agree of those things, and everything has a purpose to change. um has Bezerra de Menezes, I think that you guys already heard about it, this doctor in the past in Brazil. Now, he's an enlightened spirit that helps a lot of Brazil. He's still helping. He was a doctor, and he came once to Chico Xavier. He said, we never loved that much in the entire history of the world. And if you're thinking about it, like, we don't see love around there, but there is love. There is good people, but that we don't see because we don't focus our attention on that. The media itself and all those things focus attention on disasters, bad things. But can you imagine how many people do good things every day?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
So that's when we see, that's why we just are seeing the point of the iceberg. We're not seeing the whole thing. We can know about the whole thing in the world. It's more than 7 billion people. There's so just bad peoples around? Probably not, because if you think in the line that the spirits came to say to us that yes, you guys are in the process of progress, we have to agree that we are evolved. Of course, there are so many bad things happening, but we need to see those bad things happening. We need to leave those bad things in order to understand what we have to do to change. And that's when you in further on is going to talk about a regeneration world. We are going there in this path, but there's so many things, still so many things to learn. And yes, I believe in this next new generation, not the next one, but the next ones, new generations. They're good, they're better spirits than us. They're gonna come to earth to make change. They're gonna have different point of views. Well, if you talk to a kid right now, you're gonna see the difference already. The ability that they have to understand things that we still don't have. That we still don't have. When
Yeah.
you're talking about races, when you talk about sexuality, when you're talking about so many things that for them is just okay. Let me say something that I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Um, so Eliana, Samantha Eliana. So as well, Mark Eliana. She came from a family that is Protestant, right? So and she is introducing the gospel according to Spiritism to her kids, and that was a like amazing example for me. So she said they sat down, they started studying, like, she's just opened randomly the book, and was a teaching from a spirit, and in the bottle of, like, the phrase was like spirit from blah blah blah. And she said that she got afraid to explain, then, like, how am I going to explain who is that person that helped to wrote this? It's kind of like, and she's like, whatever. If they ask, guess what? They ask, Mom, who wrote this? Oh, she's trying to go around and around and around. And then finally she said, Spirit. Oh, okay, Mom. That makes sense. And she's like, makes sense? Yes, Mom. Do you really think that when you die, nothing happened? And Eliana was like, I never ever talked to them about anything about this. How they know this? I was like, that's the point, Eliana. Now he's gonna understand that we don't have just one life. They are kids, but there are spirits that it came from a long journey, and they know better. They know better. Yes, she came to me and said, yes, Mom, do you think that is the only life that we have? When you go, when we die. Like, it's so obvious for them. And she's 10 years old. It's so obvious for them, for most of them, actually, those kids, like, yes, we don't need like argue about that. That's obviously that. So that's why what we're studying right now, probably in 100 years, is going to be something like, yes, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you shocked?
That's going to be that hard to understand anymore. So I see that Ashley, Annalise Ashley. So Ashley, we talk a lot, okay? So you if you have, want to talk something, give your opinion, that's open study, okay?
No problem. Thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
enjoying to listening to you guys.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so that's open study. You just like talk a lot.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
All right. If there's not anybody else want to talk anything else, so
We done?
I think we're done.
I think we're done for the day. And next Tuesday will be Samantha. Ooh, yeah, right?
It's not next Tuesday. It's the other one. You guys changed that.
Me? Probably is me. Oh, okay. I have to see this. I'm lost already.
You change it.
I did,
Yeah.
right?
You gonna finish, Mark?
Sure. I guess I'll do the closing prayer then. God, Jesus, and all the spirits, we thank you so much for this evening of discussion and enlightenment, knowledge and depth of understanding. We are so grateful for this opportunity, as always, to further our transformation and our progress towards all we can be. And we humbly request permission to close tonight's session. And so be it.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be back, and I'll be here every Tuesday. Okay.
Glad you're back. We're happy to see someone.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Ashley. Mark.
Take care,
See you next
Samantha.
Tuesday. Bye,
Okay.
Thank
Sana.
you. Thank you, guys.
Have a good
Bye.
night. See you next Tuesday.
Okay, bye.
Sue Ellen